Okay, I think we're ready. Welcome to the May meeting of the Environmental Action Committee. And I am Angie Albright. I'm the vice chair of this committee, and Sarah's out of town, and so I'm going to contain the chaos for a little while. That's my job. Yeah. So first of all, let's all go around the room and tell who you are, please. Aubrey, you want to start?
Aubrey Shepherd. You have to say something to them.
You're good.
Cindy Cope. I do a little bit of everything in Fayetteville and Bloom and environmental action and habitat and
Okay.
all that good stuff.
Good.
Terry Lamb. Amy Lamb Merck. Just got married, so I can't remember your name. Thank you.
Connie Chris.
John Coleman, City of Fayetteville.
Okay. And we have somebody joining us here in a second.
We were just saying our names.
Susan Yay. Okay, thank you. All right, our agenda's pretty short, actually. And the first thing we're going to do is have John share the list, which he just did, of the city council tours. We talked about that in our last meeting. So take a look at that list, and what Sarah thought would be good for us to do is spend a little bit of time brainstorming about other tours. So look what we have here, and think about other things. We kind of started coming up with a list last time, but what immediately comes to your mind, places we want the city council to go to. And John, remind us what every other week on a Monday is the reserved?
That's right.
Okay.
So, as you can see here, kind of how they've doled it out. They've got 2 in May, 2 in June, just 1 in July. So, I think it would be, we can come up with as many as we want, but maybe one a month, and to give as options for them to participate would be really helpful.
So, and I'm sorry I wasn't here last month. Can you give me some background on this?
So the council members, they do these tours where they all get together on a Monday in a van, and they'll go and tour this site just to educate themselves on different features. So if you kind of look at the list as it is there, the animal shelter and ribbon cutting of the new puppy nursery. That's an investment that was made by the city. It's something that they had a decision in, and so they want to go out and see what's going on there just to see the end product. And so they do that with a lot of these different features, the assets that the city owns, like the Fayetteville Airport is the next one, wastewater treatment plant. But from an environmental standpoint, there's also an opportunity to expose them to different things, like maybe a stream restoration project, like the Gully Park stream restoration project, or something else along those lines.
That's what I was going to suggest, and then along with that, because at Gully they've done all the native plants and the native plant landscaping. And that's one of the parks certified as a wildlife habitat. So.
I'm thinking, and I'm imagining too, maybe problem spots. Places where everybody knows, like in this last heavy rain, that there's some huge drainage problem or something to look at. Ideas, what do you think? Let's make
I've got a question. So all of these tours start at 4:30, from 4:30 to 6, that's the time. And if we were to do this, we're not to that stage yet, but if we were to do this, would we meet at the location, or am I getting ahead of myself a little bit?
I would have to check on the occupancy of the van. It kind of depends on the number of council members. I know that if we were to do a tour by ourselves, we could all fit in the van, but if you add 8 council members to that, then it might exceed the occupancy. So there's certainly an opportunity to participate. Some could ride along in the van and just have that exposure to council members and discussion.
But it's really for the council more than.
Right.
It's not for the general community then?
Well, they can, but it's.
I think as a committee, you could participate in the ride-along, but it's more to educate the council, and then certainly you could be there on site as well for the tour or whatever it may be.
But the public can come.
They can come to the tour sites, just not necessarily ride along in the van.
Right, because it'll be public since the city council will be there.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the July 18th solid waste recycling, is that which, is that the facility out on Happy Hollow?
Yes, that's the facility out there. So they'll tour that facility where they bale all the recyclables and get a good understanding of how that process works, how the trucks come in, where they dump, the trash versus recyclables, how that's all handled, et cetera.
And then the drop-off, recycling drop-off right next to it?
Yeah, right. So yeah, I could see like on the Gully Park, it could be the stream restoration project. There are also rain gardens that have been there for a few years that were funded by a grant. That parking lot that they developed has LID techniques included in it. It's certified as a wildlife habitat. So, you know, all
That's a
those
great
features,
example.
it could be, you could have 3 or 4 different stops at that one place and have parks representative perhaps there to kind of guide that tour.
They're also planting a lot more trees.
Mm-hmm.
That
I
gully?
noticed, yeah.
Yeah. And then didn't they just do a stream restoration at Sweetbriar also?
Yeah.
So there are a number of stream restoration projects that could be, and you could even, like Gully's been established, it's been there for a few years, and it's really interesting to see with the amount of volume of rain that we've had, how it's handled that. I think that's be a really powerful statement there. And then you go look at something like Sweetbriar, which was just installed right before, and see some of the issues that it's having. So those are the types of things I think that would be really helpful. On the tour, you could say, we're just gonna look at stream restoration, or recommend they just look at stream restoration and go hit the Gully site, and then right after that, drive over to Sweetbriar, that type of thing, so they can see all the same
Stages.
day.
Yeah.
And then on the Sweetbriar one, the idea of, well, that was just done, but did that help preserve something that maybe if it hadn't been done,
Yeah.
you know?
Other ideas, what do you think?
Well, when we look at the library, it's also the solar panels that are there, and also the green roof. That is one of the big sites that we tour for
Yeah.
the American Bloom judges.
Well, along those lines, I don't know how tied into the city it is, but the eco flats.
Oh, eco-modern plans.
Yeah, eco modern flats. Talk about green building.
Well, and I'd also like to make available, I'll send it out to the committee. I'm sorry, I have allergies. But we tour a lot of these places when the American Bloom judges are in town. And I'd be happy to have some people attend with us, but I need to know in advance.
John, do you know, are there any ordinances, votes, anything going on in planning that's coming up that we might have a little bit of an interest in, or the council?
You know, City Plan 2030 is just passed the Planning Commission, is coming forward to City Council, so might be a way to tie something in there. I mean, it's the land use master plan for the city. It talks about an enduring green network is one of the primary goals, traditional town form, infill development, that type of thing. So, you know, we could potentially pick some infill projects that have occurred, like in the Walker Park neighborhood maybe, and how it's following the Walker Park neighborhood master plan. That might be a good one. I really like the idea of the library because it's got so many different features.
Right.
And a lot of them have been there, but they probably haven't been on the roof to see the solar panels.
Right.
And just how big those are and the amount of power that they're producing. And that whole project with the renewable energy rebate that they're getting and how it's funded by a grant, those types of things. I mean, that's a really good one as well.
Well, and then also Root Elementary is getting 6 solar panels, is it?
They are.
And there's some way to tie in where the kids can go to a website and they can see how much energy is being,
Yeah, you're working on that.
yeah, and I think
So
that would be
that's, I
something.
mean, just the whole idea of the
Yeah.
solar panels.
Let me say, I said this to the planning commission Monday week ago, when they were talking about the master plan, and I suggested that every effort should be made to find as complete a list as possible of homes that were flooded, especially for the first time, even though they've been next in the floodplain for years. And there were 4 new ones, I believe, in my neighborhood, total of more than 6, 7. I'm not sure. Some of them. See, people don't tell this. They don't call or report it. Now, the transportation guys have pretty good information on what places they had to block, all the street crossings on 15th Street, West Street, by my house, and other places you never thought of.
2 on crossover.
Just to,
Well, on our section of crossover.
yeah, but in like Happy Hollow, where it comes down to 15th and at that intersection, they had that blocked all the way to the city facilities for a couple hours. And so transportation knows a lot of it because they were out hustling and looking. But if those things are taken into account, our infill, which has many benefits, will continue to cause our flood crest downstream. You know, when you split a little lot, root the rest of it, put red dirt down for your foundation, you have just created an irreplaceable piece of pervious soil that has been functioning since the city was settled. And so we've got to take that into account so that, I mean, the stream sides, maybe it's going to help where the small lots are on stream sides. It could be legally cut in two, but surely we're not going to allow anybody to use the back part of a lot that's in the 50 or less feet from the stream to build on. But there are people wanting to do it right now who, and I have examples of people who cleared their lots that were within 50 feet of the stream in the last few days of March. Just tore it all to heck and got it down to erosion city. Got rid of trees that would have been protected under the tree ordinance under long-term rules. And with they knew that ordinance was coming, and their response was to clear it first and try to avoid, you know, having a problem doing it later. Even though they have no plan for it, you know, that's a key thing. So this, to me, the city, long-term city plans have been great in many ways, but John will agree from his time here that they have to be adjusted every 5 years.
I think it's just an opportunity, something that's coming forward, so you can do a tour around that component and, you know, include certainly different talking points during the tour.
I was just thinking about the, what did I just read about? The call, sort of the vacated developments. And think about those from and I know they're changing the zoning on those, but think about the environmental aspects of Ruskin Heights or wherever, where those things are left to sit there and kind of what that has meant. And so, which I can see would make a difference in how somebody would feel about the zoning or how you change the city plan, all those kinds of things. So.
Well, I was thinking of it as a committee project that we assist in some way of pushing forward a survey to be done. Plan will come to the council first meeting or second meeting next month, John, you think?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's been determined yet.
Because it just got out of planning commission last week. So it'll be, they're gonna have 2 more meetings on smoking, I think,
Yeah.
when they pass it. So maybe we've got a month, but, you know, we could start just contacting our neighbors and putting it on your Facebook. Did you get flooded? Where was the worst flooding? Because there's no way any one person can know all this.
One way that thing that'll be helpful too is the FEMA guidelines are coming out for those that were affected, and so certainly a good inventory will be taken there because people will be trying to pursue that.
Try to get some
funding. So some press releases went out this week, and it's been advertised in the paper, and so that might be a good way to.
Well, that'll be a source of it. Yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah, no, that's good.
Right.
Well, that is a kind of an interesting project, separate from the tour thing.
Tour
To
thing,
think
yeah,
about
it's
how
a
we
neat
can
sort of need.
assist in, educating people about, I mean, we just saw huge evidence of what can happen in a major event.
And if you notice, the rain was in those bursts. It might be an hour burst, but usually it was less. And flash floods occurred during
Yeah.
that heaviest part. And even if I don't have a waterproof camera at the moment, but you just can't get out there and get pictures and show it. So a lot of crossings that are flooded for 30 minutes or something, nobody goes out there, no policeman comes along, nobody's crossing it. Or where somebody does cross it, they end up in the ditch or in the creek itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Terry can attest to the fact that during the storm, couldn't get to Butterfield.
I couldn't go pick up my girls.
Oh, because, yeah, I heard it was really bad.
Yeah, the only way out of our
Oh, yeah, very
neighborhood
far.
is to cross over. You either have to go left, and Mud Creek was over there, or you go right, and Wycoska Creek was over there. I couldn't go pick up the girls. Yeah, they couldn't get home till late in the evening. It's crazy.
Well, are there some of those obvious spots we need to put on a tour? I mean, something that was really troublesome to the city or to a neighborhood that was, something that was especially bad?
Somebody at transportation might provide some information, John, at your request.
Flooding hotspots.
Yeah.
Kind of to the ordinance discussion too, I mean, they passed the new grading ordinance, and it would be interesting to kind of see maybe before and afters on that, and how that's affecting the drainage component too. So I'll ask.
Did you all see, there were some pictures online, I forget who put them up, but you know on the trail where they have those signs for the bicyclists or anyone using the trail that says, trail safe underwater?
Yeah.
Have y'all seen those? Well, there was at least one, maybe two pictures online that somebody sent me, where the water was right up to the bottom of the sign. It was really funny.
And the sign says what?
Trail unsafe for
Oh.
underwater.
No kidding.
There was no
Yeah.
sign but trail
Especially
for
when the sign is
5,
long.
6 feet down. Yeah, it was pretty wild.
Boat.
Well, another tour spot might be Happy Hollow School. It's LEED certified and should be open. They're gonna start moving things next month into the school. It's terrific.
It's a good place to see some erosion with it.
And,
Yeah, I heard more like July they're gonna be done.
Yeah.
Well, they're already packing the things up at Happy Hollow
Okay.
right
For the
now,
fall, I mean, because
It
you
could
got
be
the
fall,
tours that go
yeah.
through September, so we could start, do something like that in the fall.
Other places, new buildings, like with the library and the solar panels, are there other new innovations out there, interesting architectures, building, planting?
It's an SCI site, but it's not very
Yeah,
far
there's-
along.
yeah, it's not far along. And it would be good to see, it's in the Walker Park neighborhood. It's the Partners for Better Housing project, it's in an affordable housing project.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Designing now.
They're designing.
Was it was there something about it at one of the watershed luncheons? Isn't that what, somebody came and spoke about that design, that
Oh.
development, or is that something
That was
else?
the university.
Mhm.
Oh, that's different. Oh, okay.
This, talk about the Partners land, you know, downstream is that Head Start facility.
Mhm.
And I went by there and talked to somebody one of the nights during the flooding, not the worst night. And they told me that every year they get 3 inches of water in that building, at least once a year. This year they probably got it 5 times or something.
Which Head Start is that?
On South Wood.
On Wood. I figured that was
See,
the
the
one you're
Partners land
talking
is
about.
upstream.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's a
Just where
natural
it
flow
sits.
area drawing from 2 ridges and all the way up past Jefferson School. And
I
Oh,
can
it
see
sits-
just where
it's
it
a
sits.
It
100
sits
feet
right in-
wide.
It sits
Yeah.
right
In
there
that
in
bottom.
the valley, yeah, yeah.
a deal like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
I know that also Owl Creek, it took them a long time to get all the kids out of Owl Creek because there was flooding over there too, just.
And the Montessori school flooded.
Mhm.
Over on, didn't it? Flooded in the school, into the classrooms.
And they were doing sandbags in school.
I don't know how this would be done exactly, but didn't, the green infrastructure planning map that FNHA had something to do with putting together, that, so our city council or planning folks now said they're gonna look at that map and use it, right, for,
Within the city plan 2030, they incorporated the map.
the map, the green, okay.
And then some of the recommendations will be the goals, the added goals of City Plan 2030. So, yeah, there's definitely been communication there. There were some of the planners that were on the subcommittees with FNHA as they were developing that, so.
Would it be possible to do, or worthwhile even to do because that map identifies the hubs, the ecologically important areas, and then also shows the links, to pick a couple of those spots and.
Who was it who, when I first started on this committee, we had a presentation about that, remember? It's probably a good time to bring that back and look at that again, and especially now with the 2030 plan that's coming out.
Actually
Do you remember who that was, John?
Is it Bob
Yeah,
Cobb?
Bob.
Yes, it was
Yeah.
Bob.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good program to do.
Yeah. I think it'd be neat for them to see a couple of the spots that they've
Yeah, that's a
highlighted.
good idea.
You know, why are they, you know, what makes them.
Well, if you think of other things.
Well, actually, the Partners Land is one of the places I marked to be on that 3 years ago, whatever. Was that all right you were doing that?
Yeah, I mean, if you talk to Bob, it was, ecological diversity was graded as one of the lowest in their survey for that area.
The diversity.
But,
But the fact that it's karst,
Yeah, the
Sunken
geology.
wetland.
Yeah, the
and it's a
aquatic.
recharge area for groundwater, and the fact that it's unstable for, well, if you build a house in there, you have to adjust it periodically.
Right.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
You know. So it's, that's why it's a tricky place to build, and that's why we've got, what's his name, Brian,
Mhm.
that's doing the design, and he's committed to doing everything as sustainably as possible, harmless as possible. But it's not like building it on a real hard dirt, flat place.
Right.
it's one of the interesting things about FNHA's survey, though, is they did do these, basically a survey of the hotspots, and they graded different areas, and as far as prioritizing protection initiatives, so I think that's a really good idea.
Well, that's helpful, but I was involved enough to know that there are limited ways of doing that and limited amount of survey. I mean, it wasn't everything out there. Partners Land has a lot of native species, and like other parts of our city has a lot of honeysuckle hiding it
Yeah.
and that kind of thing, or the bad honeysuckle. So, yeah, but the potential is very great.
So do you think a tour of those spots would be valuable?
I think it's very, yes.
I think it'd be
Yes.
great.
From what I understood from Bob, it was like, because there's so few prairie remnants left, if anything was prairie remnant, it automatically made the map because they're so endangered. Same thing with wetlands. If a wetland even was found, it was on the map. And then the forested areas, they kind of ranked based on diversity and, what was the other things? Forested, yeah, then they looked at the geology, if it was particularly sensitive karst area. Of course, then Wilson Springs is one of them, right? Because they have the endangered darter and.
That's another good, behind the Sam's Club after
Yeah.
all these years to kind of
Oh,
see
yeah.
what's happened.
Have you been out there since the
Is that where
burn?
Wilson Springs
Since
is?
the-
Yeah.
They did a little burn, did they?
Wilson Springs Conservation.
I don't know.
Did a burn on Wilson Spring area,
Yeah, I haven't
a
been
month
out
ago, 6 weeks ago.
That's
Burn?
great.
They did-
Burn,
oh.
a control burn.
I know they did a cleanup because Nicole Hardman said they took out, I can't remember how many
I think they did
tons.
the burn, they did Fayetteville Lake, and they did,
They were going to, and they had a little trouble with the urbanization around there. I think it was complicated. I don't think they've done it yet.
I don't.
I think they still
I'm
want
not
to,
sure.
but, yeah.
Maybe they didn't do it.
Well, if you think of other things, email the group and we keep adding to the list. I think this is a pretty cool list because there are some positives
Nice.
here and interesting things and some troubles places. and-
Is this something that we should be encouraged to go to if we have a chance to go to these sites like the wastewater treatment, but solid waste recycling, just like as members of the AC, if we
Yeah,
get
I
a chance
think
or
absolutely.
schedule, or if anybody wants to go like as a group, but not of course with the council, we can ride out there together.
Mhm.
Well, even these places that don't necessarily jump out as some sustainable project, the wastewater treatment facilities, both of them have been certified as wildlife habitat. And if there can just, we can have a little
The Woolsey Prairie,
input on what they're gonna talk about.
the new recycling drop-off's gonna be out at the west side, so yeah, there's some things there
Yeah.
that would be really valuable. At the Nolan site, they're doing some interesting things on biosolids, a new capital project from Bob Solid Management, so that's really interesting and how they're gonna try to limit that from the landfill. At the airport, there's a stream restoration project along the river there. So yeah, I mean, each one of these really has different features that would be interesting, I think.
And in each one of these, would this be planned where there would be someone there to go through, go through
Yeah,
the facility?
it would be set up to where there would be somebody, like if it was Gully Park, we would have somebody from Parks, or maybe Sandy Formica talk about the project.
You know that's my sister.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Sorry, I couldn't, yeah.
That's my sister knows. Really?
Sandy's fun.
Okay, so my sister.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
So we could have your
I
sister,
shot
we
you.
could have your sister out
Funny.
there sitting the tour.
Sandy Formica.
But then also
Yeah.
somebody that could talk about, like Allison Jennifer, somebody that
They're
could talk about the
sisters.
native plants
Sisters.
that they planted.
Mhm.
Yeah, Sandy is my sister.
That's great.
So I know your same father?
Oh, do you know my father?
Yeah.
Oh,
I
Santa?
used to write up his, what's that, bocce ball? Get him, see that little
Bocce ball,
rock?
yeah, he brought that up here too.
This meeting's getting out of control.
Oh, we can talk about the Dalai Lama
I'm sorry, yeah. So-
All right, if you have other ideas, if you think of things as you're driving past somewhere, you go, wow, I think the council ought to go out there and see that. Send a note to us and we'll put it on the list. All right, so now we're just doing project updates, and Susan, why don't you tell us where the map is? Where are we on the map?
Where are we on the map? We have a meeting scheduled in about a week and a half. It'll be Tuesday, I think it's the 24th, from 7 to 9, 2 floors up. We sent out the invitation a few days ago, and the point of the meeting is to gather the folks in our community who are doing some version of local food resourcing. And we're with the intention of looking at the possibility that the guide that we're talking about, the local food guide, could be something that would cohere all the efforts that are already happening in this area. So there are lots of people who are real excited about it. I think it's going to be a real productive meeting. And Teresa Maurer from the Fayetteville Forward Local Food Committee is co-chairing that meeting and bringing her group into it. So that's where we are. We did a survey, we got some responses on our survey earlier this spring. So we're just, what we've been doing is putting feelers out into the community to take a more in-depth look at who's doing what, who can we connect with, where are the resources, who wants to be involved, and what would best serve our area. So this next meeting, we're looking to concretize some of the answers to that, and then put a fairly specific plan forward.
Are you interested in what the different schools are doing? Because there are several that are starting gardens with the idea of after-school programs where they will also learn about cooking the food and healthy food. And they've had some healthy food presentations at different schools. And that kind of all fits into that. Is that something that you would be interested in?
Yeah, the idea behind the guide is to put together a map / guide catalog of every business, organization, farmer, restaurant, grocery, to put together educational, all the folks in our community, Northwest Arkansas, which we're for now labeling as the four county area. Everybody who's involved in some way with local food, putting all of that on a map together so that consumers, so that we can all find one another to benefit our community financially, ecologically, health, aesthetically and in terms of our health as well.
There's some great examples out there. I was in Raleigh a few weeks ago and they happened to be having this local farm tour, and it was a very similar product where people were coming from all over. They had this booklet and you could just go tour these farms and learn about what they were doing, farming wise, and how they were distributing their food to different grocery stores or restaurants and whatnot. So it's kind of a similar concept.
Yeah, what's going on in North Carolina is phenomenal around just organizing the whole local food scene. So, yes, I mean, I would say yes, and we don't yet know exactly how everyone is going to be involved, but yeah.
Yeah, I see that because it's a community effort at some of the schools. It's not just the school, but it's also.
Right, and they're doing on a school level what we want to help to do on a regional level.
And we can trade ideas and get in people that know what they're doing about certain things and help with the education to the kids and stuff like that, so.
Yeah.
But I think at the heart of it is economic development though too, and consumer, I mean, so that the consumer knows where to go. I know if I'm choosing Greenhouse Grill or Bordino's or whatever, that I'm making a choice for local foods.
Right,
That
that
kind of
part
thing,
too.
yeah.
So is it more economics and not really
Well, I don't think
trading
we know
ideas?
yet, but I
Okay, so we would like to.
That's
I mean,
where
I
I'm
think of it as all
starting.
economic, environmental,
Educational,
education. Educational is huge.
yeah, okay.
Aesthetic, and health is a huge part of it as well.
And this will be on the 24th and,
It's May 24th. Actually, you know what, I'll forward the invitation
Okay,
to the
good.
whole committee. I sent it out to all the local foods folks. I don't understand that, Amy, we're gonna find out. I've sent it like 3 or 4 times to you. But anyway, I'll send it again to just our committee, so you all have it. And, yeah, it's in a week and a half.
great, thank you.
Yeah.
Well, I was with Mayor Jordan at Montessori for wildlife habitation certification, and one of the things that he wants to do is a free workshop to build birdhouses, but also square foot gardens.
Oh, nice.
And we just haven't gotten a date set, but I know that would be something that this committee could certainly get involved in, is helping get the resources where we can build square foot gardens and get them into the schools and other places.
Should I include his email on the list, or is that?
If it's coming to me, then I'm just kind of following.
Okay, and you got it, right? Okay. All
I think
right.
in general, I mean, I think we have an obligation to keep the city staff, but if you're the.
I mean,
contact
Sarah and
person-
John were both on the list, so
Right.
I figured it would.
And Christina Jones, who's in the
Yep.
sustainability group, she's with FCGC, the Community Garden Coalition, and
Right.
so there's multiple people within the city group.
Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of people, I mean, and it's way more than I know, but I know there are a lot of people on that list whose webs connect, so, in several ways, so.
Good. All right, neighborhood habitat. Jerry?
Okay, the big update, I guess, is that we've put together, or almost finished putting together, a summer speaker series on the Wildlife Habitat Project, and that will, the presentations will all take place at the Fayetteville Public Library, and they will always be on a Monday night. There's going to be 6 of them scattered throughout the summer. A Monday evening from 6 to 7:30. So the first one will be May 23rd, so it's coming up pretty soon. And that will be me just explaining what the Wildlife Habitat Project is and giving people ideas on how to landscape for wildlife, how to get your yard certified. And then from there, the following 5 programs throughout the summer will be real specific to different aspects of the habitat. So Cindy is going to be doing, I believe it was June 6th, which would be the next one, and she'll be talking about bringing butterflies into your yard and the importance of butterflies and what to plant and who will come. And then we've got a young woman who's getting her PhD in entomology focused on native bees, and she did a bee program for my Arkansas Master Naturalist class that was really, really excellent. And so I've asked her to be one of the speakers, and she'll be the she's going to speak on June 27th about bees, and not beekeeping, but native bees, bee decline, and how we can help out the bees. And gosh, the billions of dollars worth of pollinating that bees are responsible for.
What's her name?
For our crop, Amber Tripodi. And I'll send out, when I get the whole list, I'm gonna do a flyer, and with every date and a description of each program, I'll send it to you all. I'm just telling you what we have so far. There will be a bird program. I don't have that worked out just yet. There will also be, and the bird program will focus not just on beyond feeders, how your yard is a critical link for bird migration, or can be a critical part of the linkage of habitat for overwintering and migrating birds. And then we're going to have one that will focus on the green infrastructure map and the different places that were identified as ecologically important in Fayetteville, and people can actually look at that map and see where their neighborhood, where their house falls in that system, and start to kind of put it together that neighborhoods can be can become landscape linkages, can become those biological conduits that wildlife corridors, that kind of thing, and also where our streams are, so they can really start to understand how all this can link up, and how their yard can be, or property can be part of that. So that'll be one, and then I've got another one that I'm not exactly sure what we're going to fill it with yet, but these will run through, the last one will be on August 15th.
What about native plants versus invasive?
Yep.
Because
Cindy's
is that going to be
yeah,
what you're talking
she's
about?
going to tie that into
Well,
what to plant, who will come, and what to get rid of, I guess.
Well, the Tree and Landscape Committee had an invasive workshop back about a month ago.
Yeah.
And we went actually to the Frisco Trail and dug up some things. And I know that a couple people like Bob Kalk and Nancy Varville, they have these, I forget exactly what they're called, but basically it's like a bushwhacker, and you can pull up these invasives so easy. But I think that would be great if maybe in the fall we could do something in conjunction.
Another follow-up workshop.
And then replant, and then Dr. Stein-Krause and I wrote a invasive species brochure that has been published.
I think it's just really good. Yeah. So another big part of this will be just having a lot of information available for people. There will be a table of, all the great brochures and things that are being put together that we can give people. So last Tuesday I was on Ozarks at Large and talking about the habitat project. Did you?
Oh, shoot.
It's archived. You can listen to it on on their website, Ozarks at Large website. But that was kind of fun. So they're helping
Like a year.
promote it, huh?
Just from that press release.
It wasn't ready yet.
Yeah. I know, I'm so happy though, that's good.
Oh, I just emailed it.
No, I know, but I'm just laughing, because I'm really glad.
Yeah, so we did that, and also I did a program for the Arkansas Master Naturalist Northwest Arkansas chapter last Saturday on our project, and these are people from all over Northwest Arkansas. There's a handful from Fayetteville, but they're from Springdale, Rogers, Bentonville, Madison County, and the Arkansas Master Naturalist group, those that are already have already gone through the program, are real interested in this concept, and so they're kind of an avenue for taking it beyond Fayetteville. And so I did a program on that, and working with some of the folks from that group about how they can kind of tailor what we're doing to fit some projects they might want to work on in other communities.
Tell us, when's the next training? I've had somebody ask about
Yeah.
when they could go through the training for Master.
For Arkansas Master, it's once a year, and it starts in February.
February.
So they just need to get on the website and download the
So
application.
they're having to travel for that. Where do they go? Is
We
it-
either meet in Huntsville, the Carroll Electric Building, or at Hobbs State Park, or at what's it called, the Northwest Arkansas Training, whatever, in Springdale?
Yeah.
TI, is it?
Yeah,
Technical.
TI.
Technical Institute,
yeah.
that's it, the technical, we've met there a few times. It's just a bunch of Saturdays between the beginning of February and the end of May. We graduate next Saturday. I know.
Well, and part of this series that Terry is working on is also, we're hoping to start the stewardship training, so we get some stewards involved. And just to add, I think we're up to about 8 schools certified in Fayetteville, including Montessori and
It's fantastic.
and Dana Smith with the school district. She's working with the high school students next week, and we try to get the service learning kids into the elementaries and middle schools and start teaching.
The high school kids will go to the grade schools that are certified and lead a habitat scavenger hunt, right?
Right.
So they'll
Well,
actually be teaching the younger kids about their grounds. Yeah.
and even schools that are not yet certified, but try to get them excited about being certified and how they can fit the educational frameworks.
I should say too, I actually misspoke on the, in the interview, I said 200 total properties. We have to be certified as a community, we actually have to get 200 homes. We had to have a minimum of 5 schools, we've already got 8. We had to have a minimum, I think, of 3 common areas, and we've already got 24 parks and trails, 2 wastewater treatment facilities, some cemeteries, so we're blowing that out of the water, which is great. Meeting our education outreach goals, this speaker series will go a long way toward that, but we've done presentations to so many different groups. We've pretty much got that box checked. Not that we're gonna quit promoting it, we're gonna keep going, but as far as the minimum requirements to get the city certified, the only thing we're lagging on are the homes. So
How many do we have?
we're just under 100 homes, so we need to double that. And we'd really like to have our certification by the end of the summer, early fall. We can have our celebration that Fayetteville is certified. So one thing we need to work on is a big push for either the neighborhood challenge or just, I'm hoping through the speaker series too, that we get more individual homes certified.
You spoke
haven't
at-
done it. Huh?
You spoke at FCON a while back, right?
No, never actually spoke to them. Julie McQuaid took the information to them, but
I think that would be helpful to speak at FCON.
Yeah.
And we had a neighborhood block party, cookout, whatever, West Township, Karen, Jimmy neighborhood last Saturday. And I printed off some brochures, and I brought a thing for FCON, and Adela Gray was there, city councilwoman, because she used to live in our neighborhood, so I got up and spoke about both FCON and about the thing, and gave out some brochures. So,
Terry, are you gonna do the neighborhood challenge?
well, our subcommittee used to include a Nicole Hardiman who was doing was gonna take on the neighborhood challenge part of it. We lost her, so that part of it is I just haven't been able to get that going again. But we wanted to. She was gonna work with Julie McQuaid on how to exactly go about that and make that happen this spring and summer.
You know, potentially one easy way, I would think, to do it. I mean, you could connect with Julie, go to an FCON meeting,
Yeah,
just present it,
yeah.
and then, follow that up with an email and just say, okay, we're doing it. I mean, and then have the neighborhood presidents take it from there.
Okay. The trick was that we have to somehow, it's a lot of record keeping because we have to, what is the neighborhood, the addresses within that neighborhood, and that we then have to keep track of how many each neighborhood has. So right now, it's just the National Wildlife Federation. People apply online and they track it by zip code, and I get a report every month that says here's all the new homes, properties certified. So I know what we're up to on totals, but as far as separating it out by neighborhoods, we would have to go in and do it. So it's a little bit labor intensive as far as that goes. And when I talked to the girl in Austin who runs their their habitat program, she said that it did take a lot of time because you would also have, especially as you were running up to your deadline for the end of the challenge, you would have people calling from different neighborhoods and saying, you know, who's in first, second, and third. They want to know at any given time where they stand so they can tell their neighborhood and make a push for more. And so that was kind of what we were trying to work through, and Nicole's going to kind of take that on. But
In keeping with that, I would ask you all, are you representing your neighborhood at EPCON? Do you know who is? Because they haven't been getting 6 people consistently.
Yeah.
And the government channel now enforces this. If you don't have whatever your quorum is, by 15 after, they don't record it. It doesn't get broadcast.
yeah.
So
So just 6 people, not even 6 people at the FCON
you have to have
meeting,
6 people who are members representing a neighborhood.
Yeah.
One per neighbor, I mean, you have the whole neighborhood there, but I mean.
And
one
the neighborhood
person
has to
counts.
register, right? They have, every year
Yeah.
they have to re-up, which is also a problem.
But
because they don't do
this
that.
was not even a threat in the past. I
Yeah.
don't think we ever discussed having a quorum. You just always had something
Always
going on and
did,
people
yeah.
showed up. And so now everybody's so busy and there aren't enough developers in town tearing up any
I
neighborhoods.
was gonna say the piece
Just-
is being cut.
There you
That's
go,
right.
there you go.
It's like,
It's,
Not enough controversy.
there are enough
right?
problems, so people aren't showing up, but you need to be there because sometimes we've had a speaker coming in. You could have been the person from this committee coming to give a program, and it wouldn't have been broadcast, and it wouldn't, you know, they'd say, well, we gotta take the camera back to the office, so, and this did happen when we had a speaker coming.
Yeah.
Now, I missed the last meeting because it was a special day for the family, and I found out they didn't have a quorum. And it might be 5, and I was the one absent, so I'm saying it's critical. So
Yeah.
if you've got somebody, or nobody's doing it for your specific neighborhood, please try to get them to do it.
Yeah, we're
And
gonna
then-
start doing ours.
Then, when we go there to do a program, it's really
There will
shared.
actually be people there to
A
hear
lot
it.
more people
Yeah.
will see it
Yeah,
on
right.
television, and so,
Okay.
thank
Yeah.
you.
And I have been contacted through American in Bloom, a couple students from Harvard, and they're gonna send 2 people here. They have a beta testing that Fayetteville will be part of, Commonplace. And it's just for Fayetteville residents where we can post some things, and Julie's going to be working with them. And she's gonna launch some kind of a community, you might know a lot more about it than I do, John.
volunteer portal.
But some kind of a community website. So I think if we can jump on that in the next couple, 3 weeks. And again, this Commonplace is sending 2 people here for a month. And they'll be contacting community leaders. And I think this would be a really great way to get some of the information out there.
Recycling, Louise is here, do you have any, to say anything about
I
recycling?
have one thing to say, we just finalized our scope of work for long-range solid waste and recycling plan. So we're gonna be doing that over the next several months. And we have EAC slated to provide input and potentially some research on that, similar to what was done on the streamside protection ordinance,
And you said long-range plan for,
solid waste and recycling master plan.
And
okay,
who finalized it?
Just the scope of work, not the plan itself, but it's essentially saying this is what we're gonna do over the next 3 quarters to develop this long-range master plan. And it'll be around increasing diversion rate, assessment of existing waste streams, capital improvement, project plan for how to get to certain goals, setting goals for where we want to go and why, and telling that story. So it's going to be pretty intense, but it's a good opportunity too for EAC to plug in and provide input. So next month, Brian Pugh is going to be here, and then my group, Christina Jones, Lee Folsom, and myself are going to be kind of the project lead and working with the solid waste group. So we'll be here to talk in more detail about what that looks like. Brian's going to give updates on recycling and the resolution that was pushed forward by EAC and kind of what's happening with that, the transparency around recyclable goods. So he'll be providing that report, and then we'll also be talking about the long-range master plan.
Now, is that something that is part of the city 2030 plan, or is that something that's gonna go before council as a resolution?
It'll be, in the end, it'll be ordinance changes to the solid waste ordinance, and then also a plan, which they haven't had before. I mean, they've had studies to kind of help inform their rate studies and different things like that, but they haven't had a true capital improvements plan of how to establish a rate study and to what ends, you know, what are the goals that they're trying to accomplish. So it's separate from 2030. 2030 is a land use master plan. Primarily, this is for the solid waste and recycling department or division. But we'll have a lot more information. We just got comments back from staff this week, and so I didn't have a final document, or I didn't think I would, to present here. And the timing's good with Brian being here next month to just kind of make it an all solid waste recycling discussion next time.
Whole hour of solid waste.
It's gonna be awesome.
I
It's
know.
gonna be awesome.
All right, any last questions, comments, announcements?
Garden tours,
Go ahead, Ken.
there are two, it's not right. Omni's is on the 28th, I believe, and it's 7 gardens, and Saturday afternoon, or Saturday morning and afternoon. Anyway, it's on my website, it's on Omni's website, it's on public in the paper, so I should have brought brochures. But then the Botanical Garden has one, do we know the date?
It's in conjunction with Flower Garden and Nature, and it's the second Saturday, I think the 11th.
June?
June 11th, I think it is.
And that was a good thing, Omni moved theirs back a week to get off on the day. Last year they were same day.
Well, and then they had to move theirs up or back because of conflict,
Right.
Master Gardener, so.
Okay.
And I just want to add that I got married last weekend, and so
Congratulations.
I'm transitioning from Amy Lamb to Amy Merck, so, or Amy Lamb Merck in the meantime, so. How do you spell it? MERCK, like the pharmaceutical company. So don't automatically delete anything. Thank you.
And Kirby, I inserted this in the unofficial agenda, but Kirby, you're not reinstating. When's your last month?
June will be the last.
June? Okay.
Uh-oh.
And is there any way we can shame you into saying?
This is problematic, Kirby.
I wanted to put you
Well-
on the spot on TV to hear this answer.
Well, let me think about it.
Okay, I'm just kidding, Wendy. We really appreciate you being on the committee.
Absolutely.
No, if he's open to.
Yeah,
Well,
no, let's.
certainly want you to be on here, but I don't want to pressure you
Well, I
to do
appreciate
something you
it.
don't
Thank
want to do. But he's been on the committee for 3 years. He was integral in the watershed
Yes.
protection classes that we did and all those things, so we really appreciate it.
Great, thank you.
So you have a whole meeting about it.
Everybody start emailing him, harassing him.
That's right.
Anything else? Do we have to move to adjourn? I don't
Just
think
say
we do.
meeting adjourned.
Okay, I think we're adjourned.
All right.
Thanks.